0.8%. Massive drop in silver. Looking on over at oil, it is up over 1.5%, up $1.25. A nice stellar move there in the oil market. And natural gas is up 1.5% as well. So some big moves there in our energy markets for the day. Ag markets not being left behind. We got corn up over 4.5, almost 5 points right now. That's over a 1% move on the day. And soybeans up nearly 1% at the moment, of about 9 points as of this moment. Pound dollar is currently down 21 pips. We got the euro pound down 25. Dollar franc's up 43. U.S. yen is up 104 pips, nearly 1% on the day. Euro yen is up 65 pips. We got the Aussie yen down 85 pips. Aussie dollar down 148 pips on the day. Massive move there over on our Aussie dollar. And the euro dollar is down 56 pips on the day. Looking on over at our bond markets, slightly negative right now, and we got the dollar index is positive, up nearly 0.5% at the moment. Dollar index, dollar doing really strong right now. All righty, let's look on over here. Let's see about our news and how it's going right now. And let me pull a few things up. Like I said, we did have some big movements on a few of these markets. And let's do a little recap and review on the news plan. Make sure you're ready for tomorrow's news trades, and we'll do some recaps on the day trading plans as well, sort of walk through those and see where we're at, if there's any opportunities left in the day pending out there for us. All right, well, last night we had the franc, the pound, and the euro all moving around, so let's see how they're doing right now. And let me pull that on up and just look at these from the simple news view first. And so we have the dollar franc, the CPI coming out at 3.15. Usually a pretty flat mover on the dollar franc there between 11 and 7. Today got a little bit more movement than usual, but let's see how it came on out. If we go on and take this on to 2,300 and mark that on over to 7. Like I said, a little bit larger than our normal move, but took off. We got 71 pips on that. Was not a flat day on the franc. And so we would have been out at that 1-to-1. Remember, if we got 25 pips at 50 pips up, then we get out of the trade on both sides, or, at least one side, but both sides usually. So you're taking your profit, taking your loss, getting out 1-to-1. And not too many of those that we get hit on like that. But you want to be ready for them when they do pop up and happen. Hopping on over, looking at the pound dollar. And on the pound dollar, we were looking at a pretty small move as well. Get some of these movements every once in a while, they come in and get us. And so you just got to make sure you use that stop trigger to hop on out. And this one was a big move also. Just had a lot of honestly, some really good moves. Just not if you were neutral trading there. So went down and had that massive move. We did get the pullback, though. So we got that pullback there over on the pound. And on the euro as well, just everything having, like I said, that big, really, like it was a great trade for last evening, go in and take advantage of. Then on the euro, we had the nighttime. We also had the morning trades. Nighttime trades, of course, also took off like the others, but the morning trades worked out really well. So if you're not doing the nighttime trades, you don't want to manage them, you don't want to use a stop, whatever, then you go over in the morning, you can manage those a lot easier. And we were looking at a 8 a.m. entry for a 10 a.m. expiration on that trade right there, and it basically had a move of a net 0 pips on the trade, which is good for us. 30 pips on that one, so we lost on one, we gained back there. Then we had another one from 9 to 11 as well, so full profit, 30 pips on that NFP trade. We expected that one to be pretty flat. And then we had another ISM manufacturing one happen there, and we were also doing the same thing on the euro dollar. 25 pips was our goal on that one, and that was ranging from 10 a.m. and then to 12. So 6, so that's 19 pips. Also, like I said, either net profiting out this morning or making some profits off of the, just the trade from this morning, or else help covering some of those losses from last night when it just took off. All right, well, that wraps up the news for the morning. We had several other things that came on out, but that was the main topic. So I saw weekly oil inventory come on out. We guess we'll go ahead and check a look at that real quick and look at the oil inventory report. So I'll pull that one on up. We'll check it out. And let's see here. We'll throw on our spike tracker on that report. There we go. And then we'll look at our expected ranges as well. and see how we stayed within the range or we went out, because it had a pretty big spike. And let's see here, expected range. There we go. Okay. One second while it takes a second to load up. But anyways, once that gets done, then we'll do our market recaps. We'll also talk about our upcoming news to be there. All right, so we did get a big volume spike. Didn't break on the 5-minute. We stayed pretty much within the expected range, except for right on the news. It went a lot more than normal. Popped on up here. And so those 2 hours, we actually got more movement than we usually expect to get on a oil inventory release day. So it was a lot more volatility, not only the way up, but pulled all the way back down, which is often what you see on a big breakout. So I'll have to pull down to where it was before that news. And right here at 10:30, right before the news, you can see it came right back down to that same level before oscillating on back up. And we'll see that happen, like I said, quite a bit. All right, what other things do we need to be aware of today and for tomorrow that are coming on up? We got Qualcomm coming up 4 p.m. after the bell today in the NASDAQ there, and QCOM right there, so they'll be coming up, be affecting the indices. And again, their wire release usually comes out at 4, despite the press conference time. That usually is the time the wire release comes out. Yen monetary policy report coming on out at 6:50, so be aware of that, especially after all the things that happened with the yen this week. And then this evening, we got the Aussie dollar employment change and unemployment report. Usually, a smaller mover may pop up like 50 pips and come on back down. Usually stays less than 30 pips in most instances, like 10 out of 12. And so we're looking for a minimum profit of $30 on an iron condor for it to stay within that 30 pip up, 30 pip down range. And anything less than that, we're able to be profitable on the trade as of expiration. And we're looking at entering for an 8 p.m., exiting at a 10 o'clock expiration on that trade. We have another overnight pound-dollar trade entering at 11 for a 7 a.m. expiration with a 4:30 a.m. release time. Again, entering at 11 p.m. for a 7 a.m. expiration on a $30 minimum profit on the trade. We're going to roll it into the morning. German manufacturing factory orders going to come out at 2 a.m. And then we're going to have the pound asset for purchase facility. This usually pops a little bit, but then just really chills out because everything's waiting on the euro rate and the conference mainly to be released. And so usually this has been really a great trade as long as the pound and euro come together, which they are coming together again this Thursday at the same time. They'll be releasing those rate statements one after the other. And so we go in at 6 for an 8 a.m. expiration for a $30 minimum profit. Usually there is some volatility built in there, making that trade more possible to pull off. And again, that's buying an iron condor. We buy the lower spread, sell, or selling, whatever, sell the upper spread. Looking for a net minimum profit with the two max profits combined of $35 or more on the trade. About an hour after you get into that one for the 6 a.m., we're going to hop in at 7 a.m. on the minimum bid rate. And unless they change the interest rate, which has only happened, like really once here in the last 12 months here, but unless they change the interest rate, we do just fine on this trade. 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for a $30 minimum profit is what we're looking for on that trade. We do want to be out of that trade pretty before the official press conference gets going, and so let me check something on that because I think we may want to be out of that one a little bit earlier. What time are they going to start that press conference in the morning? And just check everything. Yeah, we actually want to be out of that euro trade by 8 o'clock. So let me back up on you there right here. This one needs to be a 6 to 8 as well. We need to be out of this trade before that press conference starts, okay? Because when that press conference starts, things can really start moving. So let's back that up. So be out of that before the press conference starts, okay? So let's make that a 6 to 8 a.m. And I'll edit that in my book as well. All right. And then the CAD building permit, 8 to 10 on that one. Usually pretty neutral trade there. Press conference can override this one. Use some caution. Okay, 8 to 10 a.m. Dollar CAD, Iron Condor, $25. But again, that press conference can cause a little bit of volatility there if it really rocks the euro, which rocks the dollar. Okay. The press conference starts at 8:30. We'll be looking at a strangle on this one. It usually comes out in two parts. The release part, which is red, and then open Q&A. Can take place over an hour to two, and depending upon the Q&A. So I'm usually looking for an 8 to 3 strangle for less than, or straddle for less than $45 on the trade. Maximum risk, okay? And so, again, it's being released today, 30s. We're looking for an 8 to 3 on that trade. Anyways, but that is the news for the early morning there. We also the unemployment. Well, we got a lot going on, actually. So the unemployment claims. So you can look at spike strikers for those. This is going to be a non-event with everything else that's going on. Let's see, we got CAT IV PMI coming out at 10 a.m. Come out right after those building permits are over. Pound nicer GDP estimate report be coming out at 10 a.m. as well, so that can impact the pound. That's a pretty rare report to get much stats on. We'll have weekly natural gas inventories coming out, so you can look at strangle, straddle, spike strikers, things like that. And tomorrow evening, FOMC member going to be speaking at 7:05. Not a major speech, but just it's always good to be aware of when any one of the head feds is making a call, because you never know what might come out of their mouth. All right, we'll be back right after this break. Right there, and checking out the euro yen along with it, and pulling that on up. Euro yen had a nice long move starting right there around 7 o'clock, and just kept giving confirmations going up until about 4 a.m. before it decided to pull back. Euro dollar going into last evening, just heading on south. First thing went right on down straight to a 1 deviation move. And with the pound dollar, had the same thing. Moving on down there, down 1 deviation, gapped on down on that news, down to 1.5, and then punched on through to the 2 deviation level before doing a full pullback all the way back up to settlement. And MVP calling that turnaround right there for you, all the way back up. Like I said, the settlement was a great and fantastic move. And using that 10-minute deviation stop method that I teach, very powerful to help you trade on these right here. We're going over at the dollar yen, and got a nice MVP short going on down south there. Does a little bit of pullback, gives another punch on through, and then turns right around there, right around 2 a.m. But a great evening time. Go short trade. It worked out perfectly. Looking at the dollar index over on our 10-minute charts, and just going up to 2 deviations last night as of 5 a.m. I mean, just some masterful, wonderful moves there on our FX pairs. The dollar just having a lot of strength, pushing everything else around. That dollar strength continuing to hammer on the pound, or not on the pound, but on the gold markets there, and seeing gold just fly down heavily. Obviously, more dollars means that it takes less of them to buy gold, and so dropping the price of gold. And as you can see, dropped it in at 8 o'clock, and then a massive reconfirmation of the drop right there, right around 1 a.m., and it's moved right on down to a -2 dev level. So just great movements there. And going into NASDAQ, a little bit more range-bound. We moved on up to half a deviation, pulled on back down, and just range-bound trading on that. Oil, a lot of high volume, lots of momentum going on, and just up, and then pulling down, and checking out right there in that oil inventory period. We got the S&P and the Dow, both pretty range-bound, but still up positive on the day. We got a 1 deviation move there, just about on the S&P, and looking on over at the Dow. Running up, but up about 100 points right now. Let's see here. Fed issues a new rule to prevent oversized U.S. financial firms. So more regulations coming out. Be interesting to see after last night's elections how everything is going to play out. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot of changes. I don't know what that means. So everybody said a lot of things. So we'll see what really happens. Let's see. We got the V bottom. Are the bulls back? Well, they might be. So we'll see. But we got that big plunge and right on back up. Just looking at some of the big highlights. Markets up with the ADP data. Dow hits record. Massive gains for European stocks ahead of Draghi. Talking on Thursday there, we got Canadian stocks rise from the 2-week lows, and silver ETFs extend their slide after 4 straight months of losses. Metals just getting hammered. Aussie dollar dropping to fresh 2014 lows, and just keeps getting knocked on down. And so there's some big moves there in our currency markets as that dollar is getting stronger and it's pushing the other currencies around. And, of course, the yen helping out with that, with all the activity it's doing by printing. It's just strengthening the dollar, which is having an impact across all the other currency pairs. We went through today's news, got you caught up on that, got you caught up on the Be Aware events and everything there. And now let's do some trade plan reviews on where we're at for the day. Well, we had some good oil trades. Hopefully, once you got up, you stopped. But anyway, so we'll cover those when we get back after this break. All right, folks, look at here at the oil markets on the day trading point right here on the diagnostic trading hour. And just checking out the oil plans, seeing where they're at right now. Haven't really got a reset in a while since this morning. We took off. We got a break-even trade early in the morning. Then I got a little small, like 30-tick hit. But then we took a 30-tick profit on a trade. It reset, took another 30-tick profit on a trade. And then we went and grabbed 15 quick, easy ticks, grabbed about almost 30 ticks again, and then another 15 ticks, and now it's just sort of oscillating around. A couple aggressive trade entries going short, coming on down to target 1, target 2 again, and then another long aggressive with a short aggressive that right now is being pulled against it. But as far as just the conservative entries, oil is looking sharp and looking positive on the day. Right now, not much to say. I would say most of the volume has really died off at this moment and need to be really careful on any oil trades right now. Hop on in, checking out the gold markets and where they're at. And it's been a little tricky on the gold markets. We got some short setups here. Came in, went short, did trigger really close right there. And did not hit the stop, but that bar did break the bar in the previous bar as well. With that, let's see here, moving this on back down. We came in and went short there at 11.46 and took profit right there around 11.39 on that trade. Remember, we could take profit 5 ticks before on the trade as well, but it went ahead and busted on through, which is nice. Pulled on back again. That would have been another aggressive entry to do the same thing, but again, aggressive entries, they look pretty sometimes, and they fly against you other ones. I really like to find the conservative ones if I can on the trades. But it did pop on back there. We did have a nice risk-to-reward ratio out on the trades. This one right here, again, that would have been another aggressive entry. It did move 50% at least on this trade. And so looking at that on the 50% marker, let's see here. If one was to pull it off, you would at least move to break even on the trade. And then it popped on back up. And again, that would have been aggressive. I prefer to just avoid the trade altogether. This one came down, popped in. I mean, again, you already got one entry. You already got, another aggressive. There's another one right there. Just pops, flies against you. Unless you're using like a Nadex spread or binary, that thing flew up and back, getting later into the trading day. And still looks like it's trying to come on back down yet again. And it might try to go on back down into the market right there. We got in, got out of the trade, got in again. Could come on back down. But again, the pits are closed. Now we're going into the Globex session. And anyways, got a couple nice trades out of it in the morning. If you would have waited, got into this one right here, and not taken any of the earlier trades in the morning, then that one would have got you right there on that first stop. But the nice thing is the risk reward did keep everything in check. So, and like I said, another potential entry going on right over here at the moment with the target down at 11.39. But not a lot of volume, so it may just creep on back down to that level where we have the volume, these magnet areas right down here. Could easily be pulled on back down to that as well. All right, so that wraps up oil and gold for us today. Looking on over at our FX markets, let's check out, let me pull up, we'll look at, let's just say the pound dollar. And we can knock these out one at a time, scrolling through them and see where the markets are at. Like I said, try to see if there's any additional plays we can make on the day. So market came on in, So we're going to zoom out a little bit to see this a little bit more clearly. But those are pretty much all targets in between there. Till we get all the way down to pull a buy. So I had a buy right here at 58.75. And so going along at 58.75, we move on up. But, I mean, it's just bouncing all around, et cetera. It moves on up to target 1. It moves on up to target 2. It even moves on up to target 3. So really nice big move right there. We look on over at entry 3A, and we did have several targets on entry 3 as well. Comes on in, goes down to target 1, and moves on down to target 2, and then comes on down again to target 3, hitting all 3 targets on that one. Almost hit it, but didn't quite hit it. Could have went in early, though, because it was pulling back up. It comes on down. Remember, we can get back in. Now, this would have been an aggressive entry. So, and would have got the first 2 targets out of that. And then if it came back, again, this is aggressive entries, another target. Aggressive entries, again, another target. So just replaying, rinse and repeating over here. And done that literally over and over again all morning. And so sometimes those aggressive entries, man, they can make you a lot of extra change. Sometimes they just pop right against you. And you just got to decide if you have the bankroll to risk it. Or if you just want to stick back and chill out and enjoy conservative entries on the trades. Right now, just playing that move, next move down. If we're repeating right now, we're still sort of seem to be like we're in a range-bound market at the moment. But next move on down is going to be down there to 59.70. And then if it goes on back down to 59, about 60 would be the move from there if it decides to break out of this range on back down to the downside. All right, that wraps up the pound dollar for us. Let's go ahead and check out the dollar yen. And the dollar yen wrap for the day as that chart loads on up. It's been pretty quiet on for a dollar yen day. We've had some great trades. We had a trade last night that kicked on in at 1 a.m. Went on up here, came on back down. Again, another aggressive long went on and came on up to the second entry, but we haven't had any additional trades on the dollar yen today, just which is amazing considering how many we have had overall. But it just has been a pretty flat move. We had a lot of that movement early in the evening last night. All right, let's go ahead and look on over now at, let's see, we got dollar, yen, pound, dollar. Let's check out the euro dollar. Look at where it's at the moment. And on the euro dollar, we had multiple short entries we were checking out. We had a long entry along the way as well. And they didn't work out. And then we had another short entry that has done fantastic. Like I said, we had a short last night that got in right here around 1 a.m. That one moved on down, and it actually hit the target. That was also like another entry posted at 3, confirming it. But moved on down, basically hit our target right before we had that long. But then that long went right against us and is like right here. Let me see here if I can back that line off for a second and get in on the detail. All right, so we got bar 1, 2, 3. So we got a small loss right there. So 1, 2. So on that one, and sort of bounces back there. And then going on over here, we got a short. That bar does break to leave the low, and we go down and get that again. Again, this is one of these days just for these aggressive entries that hasn't really been able to reset. And so that was an aggressive entry right here. We got another one aggressive. Did move against us, but came on back down. And then another one. I mean, it's been just one of those really rare days where it's just been bouncing and doing awesome on those. So I know I talked to some traders that have been trading those, and but those are all additional entries that just keep hitting. So, conservative versus aggressive modes. But I mean, the conservative doing just fine, but the aggressive obviously giving you a lot of extra possibilities if you're willing to take on the extra risk with them. Looking on over at the Aussie dollar. On the Aussie dollar today, going on in. Let me load that on up. We'll check it out. And pretty much the same layout as a lot of the other currency pairs. Going on in last night, had a short entry. Comes in. It does go on down. It hits its target. We had a long, which on this one, though, we had a long with a little tighter take profit. That take profit does hit. and then comes on back down, resets up for a short entry right on down here. We come on down, we're able to hit target 1 and then even hit target 2 eventually. So if you're still in that trade, depending on how you're trailing it. And that's pretty much it for the day. We got an Aussie dollar sitting down at a -3, which is really rare, -3 deviation level. Going in and looking at the Russell. Let me pull the Russell on up. And the S&P, we'll look at both of those. We'll go to the S&P, I guess, right now first, and then finish off with the Russell there. Over on the S&P for the day, just pretty range-bound, not a lot going on today. Looking for some longs. Remember, we can get in if it's descending down. So right here we got a low of 2008.5. We got 2007. We really need within 5 ticks. We didn't get within that 5 ticks. It's actually 6. So the closest you really should have had it would have been 2008.25. Would have been nice. Moved on back up, but didn't quite happen. We got right on over here, 2008.75. Again, not low enough. Really just stuck in that range on the S&P. Hopping on over to the Russell for the day. Pull that on up. And on the Russell, what are we looking at over here? Let's see. Oh, I think I was marking the break even there from earlier this morning. And let me pull that on down here. Go and check it out. So, trade, we got trade 4A here, getting triggered off, but hitting within a 5 ticks of or right to that 50% marker. And so it goes and ends up moving over to break even. And it's out of the trade waiting on a reset. Then trade 1A gets fired off, moves on up to its target, at least halfway, if not more. So if we go in, we mark that right there to the target. So we hit that, and so that trade's in, and with a break even. And basically just 2 break-even trades on the day. Not much more to it at the point. Just flat. So no trades on S&P and flat on the Russell today. There's not a lot happening. Obviously, no reason to get back into 4 if you're already in 1A. You wouldn't want to double up on the trade, unless you're going to, have really tight stops or something. I don't know. That just seems like why not just do 2 contracts in the original position? All right, so we got the Russell, we got pound dollar, we got oil, we got gold, we got all the FX pairs, and that catches us up on the day trade plans for the day. Gets us where we need to be. And now, let's go in and let's catch up on a couple other things I wanted to look through with you. Part of that was what other news we got on the list for the rest of the week. Okay, so I want to make sure I got you caught up first for this evening and for tomorrow. Be careful on that Aussie unemployment rate. It could be a bigger mover. We've had a lot of big moves in the Aussie. So usually I like that neutral trade, but use caution on that Aussie employment report for tonight. Let's see. Okay. And we got you caught up on most of Thursday. Let's look at the rest of Thursday evening and Friday, what's coming on up. So Thursday evening we got Frank retail sales, 3:15 on Friday morning. So we'll be looking at entering on Thursday at 11 p.m. for a 7 a.m. entry, okay? And on the dollar, Frank, looking for a $25 minimum take profit. We then got the pound trade balance news report coming out at 4:30. We got an 11 p.m. entry for a 7 a.m. expiration. Looking for a minimum profit of $30 on that iron condor as well. Rolling on into the 7th here, finishing up the week. Several Euro French reports coming out. Nothing major, just a be aware thing. You got the franc foreign currency reserves coming out again. Not a major event. Then we have the CAD employment change, unemployment reports, and the U.S. NFP reports all coming out. And let's see, I'll add a lot more to the NFP report for you tomorrow. Let's see here. I got to try to find it all. On the CAD employment change, We got usually it's a pretty neutral one on that, but it can be pretty crazy. We just got to make sure that we get the rates on it. Let me go through and see. I'm going to come back to that one tomorrow. I want to get you all the details on the employment rates and NFP report because usually we have a little bit wider ranges. So I'll come back and we'll wrap that one up. As far as just looking at a week ahead review for you, next week we're going to have Aussie home loans coming up on Sunday night. Then we're going to have CAD housing starts on Monday. But let's see here. We're going to have an ag report on Monday. So you ag traders better be very, very aware of that. That'll be coming up this coming Monday, usually a big, big mover. Then we'll have a big pound dollar. Various reports coming out, including their unemployment rate, usually a pretty big move, looking for a straddle on that. And the Euro industrial production report coming out next week. We have a big inflation report, and Governor Carney's going to be speaking about the inflation report of the Bank of England. And so that ought to be a pretty big event on the topic next week. We got Cisco coming out, and I'll wrap a few more of next week's big events. We get back after this. Filling of the bid-ask spread there. So they will be wider spreads. 10 a.m. is great if you can enter 8 o'clock on these trades. You can get right into those right before, if you can get the premium, pops up, comes back down. It can work out really well. But again, straddles are a possibility. Before I go into the straddle information, we got the Aussie dollar, usually around 60 pips if you can get 50 on it. Euro dollar, 100, you're looking for 60. Pound dollar can be a little more volatile, so it's still 100, but looking for 70. Dollar CAD, we got employment change coming out at the same time. So even though the range is only 75, since they got their employment and we have our employment both coming out, going to want at least $60 in minimum profit on that one. Dollar freight, 92 pips. Is the usual range. We're going to want at least 60 pips on that because, again, it usually pops out and contracts. And the dollar yen, 80 pips. We're going to want at least 60 pips on that one. Looking on over at the straddles, these are expected ranges, minimum profit. So if you can pull off a straddle for 1-to-1, meaning you buy it, and by the time it moves that far, you would be able to make the profit from the other side and the total risk combined. That'd be a 1-to-1. So if you had $40 of risk up and you had $20 risk on one side, and if it moves 60 pips, you'd be up. 60 pips higher than where you bought it. Like to say it moves 80 pips and you move 60 pips up, you make the money, then that could be great. You could check that out. You can look at 9, because a lot of times you get 9 a.m., you'll get those big movements. Like I said, in the first 15 minutes, check out 10. Even check out 3. Sometimes I found I got able to get 3 o'clock straddles for like $5, $10 more to get the entire day to give it time to move. Just for those ones that do just, take their little sweet time on moving on up. Also, this is the one that I'll look at the advanced straddles on. So where I do synthetic hedges, synthetic straddles, like on the Euro CAD or the Pound CAD. Those markets move the most. They usually use 100 to 150 pips during the NFP, especially when we got the CAD employment change coming out at the same time. And so to do that, I'll buy a Euro dollar upper spread, and I'll buy a dollar CAD upper spread, and I'll sell a Euro dollar lower spread, and I'll sell a dollar CAD lower spread. And then I'll watch the Euro CAD chart, and then that will let me know when I want to get out on the trade. Or you can look at just a floating P&L of all 4 combined. Just make sure you know what your combined risk is. Again, 90% of that time, that big move is going to happen in that first 15 minutes. So again, you could use a 9, the 10, or even the 3 o'clock expirations on the trade. You can enter anywhere between 7 and 8:15 on any of these trades. Of course, if you use the 10 a.m., you'll have to wait till 8 o'clock at least, till 8 to 8:15 to be able to get in on the trade. Often the market will go sort of flat between 11 to 3 after NFP. Be aware of that on everything on Friday, okay? Often the market will get pretty flat after 11 o'clock until about 3 o'clock after the NFP. So this can be a great potential time to check out some iron butterflies. Instead of iron condors, because the premium sort of sucked out at that point, you can check out some of those iron butterflies for range-bound strategies on the binaries. All right, I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow on the Diagnostic Trading Hour.